Greetings and good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. As they have already introduced, my name is Truong from class VAP 7C, but today you can call me Alice for a more friendly atmosphere. Not very professional, but we'll make it work. So, this is not my first time on this stage, so I am very nervous, obviously, because this is a competition, and also a little excited, actually, because if my outdated brain is working correctly, this is my third time on this stage. Happy third anniversary, yippee! So last year, even though I had made it into the final rounds already and got myself a shiny trophy, which somehow does not look shiny on the picture, but I swear it is shiny, and God praised like, "Hey Alice, your speech was so inspiring," or something like, "Hey Alice, can I go interview you? You did such a good job." I personally felt like I hadn't done a good job at all. Because you see, last year my speech or presentation was the most basic speech known to man. It followed all the conventional patterns and it had nothing unique that made it sound like I had said it instead of just some random sixth grader girl in a PennSchool uniform. So I just went up to the stage, introduced myself, introduced the topic, talked about the topic, thanked everyone, and then walked down calmly as if I just didn't give the most boring speech known to man. So this year, I would like to prove why this competition is named TED Talk and not TED Presentations for a reason. And to become your best self, today I will be talking about how you can become your best self and growing into the person you want to be. So I would like to share a very small piece of information about myself. I am never and never will be a person cut out for philosophy. If someone goes up to me, stares at me in the eye, and asks non-menacingly, "Hey Alice, in your humble opinion, between a chicken and an egg, which came first?" I will look at them back in the eye and never answer them because I have no idea which came first. But I had always been a dangerously curious child, so I asked myself and my mom one question. Is the student life such as just simple as some might seem? Because this is not an accurate depiction of what a student's life would look like. It's not sunshines and rainbows like most of your parents may say. No offense, Mr. and Mrs. Parents. So you can't just go to school and then do your homework, make friends, go home, eat, sleep, rest, repeat. It's just not like that because this is not an accurate depiction of what a student's life would look like. This is what a student life would look like. And in case you're wondering what that mess of a thought is, that is the concept of fitting in. But why do students have the concept of fitting in and always constantly trying to fit in? So there are two main reasons. Firstly is because of this toxic chemical called social media. And secondly is the cycles of comparison they keep getting exposed to every day. So I'm sure you already know, all of you already know what social media is. You go online and even if some of you may see it as a savior from reality that brings you somewhat of a purpose to life, it still brings more harm than good because you go out onto the internet and you're constantly exposed to influencers showing off their perfect lives or your friends doing things you know you will never can due to your empty wallet. So due to the social media, we are constantly demotivated because we see people doing things better than ourselves, and therefore we are trying our best to not be ourselves, but to be what the definition of perfect is in social media's eyes. And secondly is the cycle of comparison. The two main contents of the cycle of comparison, which the first part is peer pressure. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, friends are really necessary. If you want to survive in middle school, in high school, in primary school, or even in work, or at the school, everywhere that requires social contact with human beings, you need friends. But the downside of having too many friends is that the more friends you have, the more peer pressure you always have because they are constantly trying you to do things that you probably don't even enjoy, but they think is fun and they're pressuring you to do it. And also, you're getting stressed from being different. Allow me to introduce to you Mr. B. Well, as you can very clearly see, Mr. B is very different from everyone else. And that creates the illusion in Mr. B's head is everyone is getting mad at him and everyone is stressing him because he's not like the others. and that makes him sad. Duh. So that pressured him into changing into everybody else. And after that, he is finally satisfied. Or is he? Vsauce team starts playing. Well, because if you are sacrificing your individuality to be someone that you're not, you will never become your best self. Neither will you be the person you want to grow up to be. And also the next door kid syndrome. I'm not sure if all of you know what this is in its English term, so allow me to elaborate. The next door kid syndrome is a syndrome where Asian parents compare their Asian child to another, assumably Asian kid, who is usually younger than them and is the next door kid, hence the name next door kid syndrome. So, for example, let's say Mr. A has a neighbor kid named Ethan, and Ethan is 10 years old, while Mr. A is already 16. Mr. A has been playing the piano for 7 years, yet Ethan is already better than him. And the next door kid syndrome would come in with his mom saying, hey, why can't you be like Ethan? He only 10 and he do things better than you. That is a very common example of the next door kid syndrome. And due to the reasons above, the students are always having the problem of wanting to fit in. And honestly, I could relate to this more than I wish I could in past tense, because it was in my emo phase, super emo phase back in primary school, where I would not laugh at jokes that I personally found funny, but laugh at jokes other people find funny, because otherwise I wouldn't be one of the cool kids that could blend in. And let me tell you something, if you want to be someone that you're not, it was very draining. But like almost every fairy tales that were non-existent in reality, every story has a good ending. So I started asking me questions like, hey, what do I genuinely enjoy? And what brings me actual joy? And who am I if I don't care about the expectations that other people put on me? That society, that sucks by the way, that society puts on me. And another very important question is that, does it really matter if your friends don't like your Hello Kitty shirt, even though Hello Kitty is for children and you're in 7th grade? Well, the answer is no, because there is only one person in this whole wide globe that is around approximately 8.4 billion people. There is only one single human being that can set the definition of perfect for you, and that person is you. Only you can truly define what perfect and success is for you, and therefore you should use that to create your own definition of success. So this is my challenge to all of you. Every day, take little steps into doing things that you genuinely like continuing your hobbies, or just doing things you like, or just simply freely expressing your thoughts without the restriction of society. As long as it doesn't make you a menace to society, continue doing things you genuinely like. And as for my recommendation, I highly recommend you try out a new instrument. And I have also tried out 2 main examples in case any of you here is too free to try an instrument. The first thing is a Miku automaton, and in case of any of you who are too poor to afford a thing like this, like me, you can buy a normal automaton, which is half the price. Well, a Miku automaton or a normal automaton is super cool, trust guys, the internet says so, and is the ultimate sibling annoyer if you have a sibling and you hate them very much and they annoy you back. So you can buy this thing and then annoy your sibling while they're sleeping at 3 a.m. And then it's very unique. So if you have this thing, you're probably going to be the whole kid in the school who has this. Another key step in becoming your best self, guys. And secondly is the kazoo, which is the ultimate mosquito noise maker. And also the best flex, trust guys, trust. And if you guys haven't believed me in if you want to be someone that you truly are and you're too scared of society's issues, let me tell you a story back in secondary school, which is to say last year. So last year in ELA, we learned about a poem excerpt called Brown Girl Dreaming. Don't get me wrong, I do not hate this excerpt because the main character is brown, because I'm not racist, but it's because the poem was too long to the point it still haunts me to this very day. And no offense, Mr. Smith, I love you. So after learning the Brown Girl Dreaming excerpt, we had to do a freestyle poem activity where you had to write at least one freestyle poem about whatever you want. So last year, not so little me played a game called Genshin Impact. I'm not sure if all of you know what that is, But Genshin Impact, back in my class, was considered a game for weebs and nerds. And so I wrote not one, not two, not five, but 3 whole poems about Genshin Impact. I might have miscounted somewhere, but it doesn't matter. So I was just very carefully writing the poems because the teacher did not announce, I love you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith did not announce that we would have to share the poems with other kids in my class. And so little Alice wrote 3 poems until she realized she had to share a poem about Genshin Impact to her whole class. And she panicked. And that was until the kids in my class, in little Alice's class, started complimenting her, and even one kid who was somehow 5 months older than her, but still shorter than her by a head, told her that your poems were so good, it inspired me to start writing poems too. Well, that's the problem, folks, because you all are too insecure about your own problems. And to conclude in conclusion, the process does not happen overnight. You can't just go to bed and then wake up and then boom, suddenly you're your best self. No, it doesn't work like that. It's a very long and gradual process that requires practice and patience, which is something I don't have, but somehow I'm still here. So after a long process of friends supporting you, friends and family, after this daunting process, you can probably finally become a version of yourself that you are truly proud of. Also, I think I might have skipped 3 slides, but it doesn't really matter. So to conclude my conclusion, I would like to say that after you have tried your best at becoming your best self with the support of friends and families and random strangers you might have met online, but still somehow support you more than your mom does, after the support from all those people, you and me and us and all of you in this audience can rise together as in a group and a generation of authentic and confident individuals who are somehow still not brain rotted by YouTube shorts, and we can all rise as brilliant minds and intellectual people. And with that, I'd like to end my speech. Thank you so much for listening.